illithid. He's doing illithid things.
Yeah, that's to be expected if an illithid is fully of the beholder.
It does sound like a rather horrifying combination when you put it like that.
I wonder if I could get one of them to do a talk in my forum.
Yeah, I don't think Xanathar is that friendly. He would certainly appreciate the chance to demonstrate his knowledge, though. All right. Well,
class Xanathar would teach.
That's funny. I'd have to go read more about him. He loves his goldfish. I know that.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, well then, kind of like the Flumfer, what we should do is get an entire guild of bards all sing and write stories about a beholder who sheds their beholder essence to become a goldfish. Kind of like a death tyrant, but a goldfish instead.
Right, I like it.
The original idea of the Beflumfer was to do that with a flump and try to make a beholder turn into a...
All right, so last session, I realized I hadn't given you guys any XP in a little while, which actually meant that there was a few things lying around that needed to be rewarded. So I'm going to push the button, which should hopefully do the thing and give you all your XP rewards that you've been doing for the last couple of sessions.
We've really only been doing administration stuff, too.
Yeah, there were basically two big payout. Well, two payouts. I won't call them big. I'll let you be the judge of that. And then there was just one old quest left over from previous adventures that we just never awarded out XP for. So here we go.
A penance of XP.
Close. So very close.
Yeah. Bad.
Yep, and now we are up to date, and the books are reconciled.
The Emperor blesses.
Okay. Over the course of the time between this session and last session, Karomo reported the results of his surveillance. Something I'll give you for free, since he never got around to asking, is that he also reported that the tracker locations for the other three, as far as he could tell, because they eventually got out of his range, but as far as he could tell, they were consistent with them returning to their homes, not indicative of any other strange behavior. Basically, they all went straight to one or two locations, and then stayed there, basically.
I was actually...
He sent a drone to those other two locations, right? Or would have?
Yeah, he followed one of them, and we never actually did figure out which one that he followed. So, I can roll 1d3, and we can figure
I was
that out.
also going to ask if I was able to follow the other one or follow one of them in person while I was doing my various chores around the city.
You could do that if that was your
I would have gone
plan.
out of my way to try to do that, maybe take longer routes towards the places I knew where I was trying to look if I ever figured out a good place.
Now, just to set the proper context, understand that this was an overnight surveillance after you guys played cards all night with them. So this was late night. There weren't any shops open or anything like that.
Okay.
Could Karoma's drone that he would have sent to one of them also be able to detect if there was any unusual magics in the area?
No, it does not have. It's basically like a familiar, except that it can cast an interesting version of Arcane Blast. So it doesn't have any other special abilities, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
Oh, and it has whatever the thing is that lets you move across walls rather than flying. That's pretty much it. True Move or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It's the same thing that your character in the other adventure has.
Check. Just wanted to make sure because.
What was that?
I just wanted to see if he could, because that would be some interesting information if there was things there that were altering them.
Right, yeah. No, that's just beyond the capabilities of what he had on hand. Okay. So, Verde, there were 3 groups total beyond Maloon. Rather, I should say 3 people, because 2 of the trackers actually left together. So they went to one location. I'm going to assume that that's the one that Karoma actually probably sent his drone to. Because if they are, part of a conspiracy, that would be an opportune time for them to work together. So he might want to witness that. So would you like to follow the other one?
Yeah, absolutely. The chores that I was trying to do was more trying to find some of the seedier locations of Waterdeep. Mudar is very interested currently in something like maybe underground gambling.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there are quite a few places in Waterdeep where those kinds of pleasures can be found. You might actually want to talk to Smoke a little bit about that. He's been sort of prowling around of late. That said, let's resolve that piece of this offline, because I need to pore over the map of Waterdeep before I can give you useful details.
Most definitely, yeah. And it would have been like a late night adventure kind of thing where he went off to look for the people he was actually jobbing for, and then gone off to try to make these connections later on.
Right. For the primary piece of this, though, can I have you roll a stealth check for me?
6 foot tall elephant stealth check.
Do you wear armor that gives you disadvantage on stuff?
Yeah, I was going to.
Because I would imagine you would have removed that.
Oh, because I was playing cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See. How does the Emperor feel about that? I am his sworn warrior. I am his rage when it has to be his conquest. Would I take off my armor? What do you think, DM?
I mean, even the most devout. I was gonna say, even the most loyal knight takes their armor off at some point.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll tick that off in my inventory right now.
And it's not like you were doing a questionable activity. You were doing the right thing.
Yeah, I'm not wearing my chainmail. Okay. So for now, I don't think I have disadvantage. I will roll it. Ooh.
Wow, very stealthy elephant.
But I'm not wearing chain.
Stealthelephant. Stealthelephant? Yeah, it doesn't sound as good.
Wait, could he roll a goring attack as a stealth attack, since he does have tusks?
Tusks as a gore weapon, unless my DM is very nice.
Yeah, I don't think we've established that your tusks are long enough for that.
Oh, one of them's broken.
Yeah, that's right.
I used it to write down the Emperor's word.
Yeah, good use of the tusk, I mean.
Well, I had no pen at the time.
Right, I can imagine the scene in my head, in fact, so. Yep, that's some zeal. Okay, so in that case, you were following Huon Murstal, excuse me.
Huon.
Huon. Yeah, it's actually like Hoon, to be fair, but Houn. So like Hoon, Hone.
Asiatic kind of naming into the
Yep,
D&D.
Juan. Yeah, Juan.
Juan.
Yeah. So the trek itself is relatively uneventful. He walks by himself to a tenement about 4 or 5 blocks south.
No one following both of us?
No one following both of you that you have seen. In fact, the streets are relatively empty. He enters the tenement, or rather, he climbs the stairs on the outside to a second level entrance and goes in to his apartment within the tenement. And you don't see him again after that. The lights in the single window go out relatively quickly, and all is quiet. Do you want to do anything more, or are you just going to watch the door, or are you going to move on with your night?
Oh, I'm definitely quote unquote moving on, but I'm actually more like staking out the neighborhood, the tenement, the set of tenements, the block.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I mean,
Is
it's
it-
pretty obvious to you that what you are looking at is the sort of collection of buildings that are generally occupied by merchants who are, there for an extended stay, but trying to stay on the cheap. Mercenaries, would-be adventurers, looking for a place to stay the first time they've ever come to Waterdeep. Like, it's not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a slum, but it's also absolutely a place where people live thrifty as hell. There are basically 4 tenements down the block, 2 on each side, and they're almost identical. Like, if you had to guess, they were probably built within 5 or 6 years of each other, and they're all, you would guess, 50 or 60 years old. They're pretty old. The people in the neighborhood are all generally quiet or out. Lots of like cats and stuff, but otherwise it's generally quiet.
Yeah, I'm playing the drunk right now. So when I go into a giant circle, I can do whole maybe like act where I'm blinking and I'm like, oh, been here before, and then I can go on to where I was going.
All right, you want to make a actually, I'll let you choose. Investigation or perception.
Hmm. Perception. Oh, that's a good roll.
Nice. Okay. You come back around, basically 10 or 15 minutes after you last were in front of the guy's building. There's nothing really different. Everything's quiet. You do, however, notice that the dude's window is open now, and it wasn't before.
I've been here before. Oh, must have drank too much. And I lean up against maybe the wall underneath his window, and I light my pipe, and a little bit of lotus and lavender and purple haze is what I call this mixture. And I'm like, oh, I gotta sober up a bit. And now I'm just kind of listening.
Okay. You hear murmuring, like a quiet conversation coming out of the window. You can't make out the words, but there are absolutely 2 distinct voices talking. The tone is quiet and hushed. It doesn't sound emotional. So like you don't think it's like 2 lovers talking. But it also doesn't sound, like an argument or anything like that either. Just quiet voices murmuring to each other.
Those big ears are useless.
I'm an Indian elephant, not an Asiatic elephant. My hearing kind of is more suited to the jungle, not the not the big open plains. I don't know. They're small ears. Also, trying to garp on the fact that I have been using Indian folklore for this character. So I'm an Indian elephant, not an African elephant. You can tell by the ears. The ears are smaller. But no, about weird body parts on my elephant. Isolating the nose, my trunky trunk, for like smells and stuff. Are there any distinct smells? Like one that isn't Huan, like that I can maybe maybe not recognize, like because I'm not just going off and like remembering the sense of every single different person unless I've spent a lot of time with them. Like I would have known Diggs, Smoking, Clargus, like all the people at my houses by now. But no, just is there anything distinctive about the person that isn't Huan, or can I even smell that high up?
Yeah, no, you like the whole place smells like people.
Mhm.
Like like lots of
Yeah,
people.
no, I didn't even account for that.
Like, yeah, honestly, I don't know that you could differentiate anybody's scent if you didn't already like have some high degree of familiarity with them.
Yeah, no, good point. Good point. That's probably only useful in cases like of looking for one of my friends in a room of like a bunch of people.
Or if you had like a fresh sample of the source, you could like try to, tracker it.
Interesting. Well, I will hang out until the conversation ends or somebody leaves. Maybe I'll even feign falling asleep. Vagrancy. But all for a good cause.
Make a performance check for me.
Oh, absolutely. I am smoking a little bit, so I am inebriated now. Performance. Performance.
Is it? Are you really inebriated, or is it some like purple pretend stuff? Like it looks purple and it has the purple smoke to it, but it doesn't actually get you that.
So I have actual smoke according to Snipe Hunter, actual pipe weed, but purple haze is lotus and lavender, so it's questionable smoke. It's some of that Eastern like. Does lotus actually get you high? Kind of.
Right. Okay. Well, nobody accosts you. You seem to be left alone as you pantomime your act while you're quietly listening. The conversation eventually stops. You hear somebody approach the window. You hear the glass of the window rattle as somebody closes the window, and then you hear it firmly close, and you don't hear anything else from the room after that. Nobody comes or goes. Basically, for the rest of the night, if you're going to stick around.
Nah, I'm moving on and doing my chores.
All right.
Trying to make those seedy connections with gamblers.
All right. Yeah. So to refresh your guys' memories, what Karoma saw at Maloon's was Maloon went into his house, closed the door, probably went to sleep. Was quiet. Got up early. Did some meditation thing with his axe. Was somehow frustrated by that. Ultimately huffed back into his home, closed the door behind him, changed into his day clothes, and left to go about his day. The other two, which were to sell Dun Dragon and Melagos Gedragon, excuse me. I don't want to imply things that aren't true. They both headed north. And they actually entered an inn about a mile north called the One Ton Ton, where they presumably got a room or slept in the common room because they did not leave after that.
Shot.
The drone did not find a location to spy on them from outside the building and did not, on its own initiative, try to go inside.
So we don't know that they got drunk or not. It's like
That's fair, right? What you know is they didn't leave the inn the whole time it was under surveillance, or if they did, they certainly didn't leave through any of the obvious exits.
So my guy was the only guy that had any kind of external correspondence later that night.
Correct.
I relay this information to the party. That's totally sus, guys. Right?
Why would they open the window?
What was that?
Particularly cold, isn't it? I think he asked why they would open the window.
Yeah.
Particularly cold. I don't know why they would open the window.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are approaching the end of that world's November. In fact, there's actually a festival coming up in a couple of weeks.
Perfect. We can have a festival brew. Some kind of competition of local bread makers or other things. I don't know. We'll have to discuss it later on.
It is a harvest festival, so that makes sense.
Ah, see. Any kind of Mudar is still going off on this while you guys are thinking about more important stuff. Is there any kind of like city vegetable or fruit or something? You know, whoever makes the best cloudberry soup wins.
Like what our world would have it, like a state fair or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
No. There is a parade, and there is generally like festivities. And the folks who bring in the wheat harvest generally get good and drunk after doing so. And then, typically there's lots of like baked goods and cakes and stuff for sale.
All right. So it's up for me to establish the stuff.
Yeah, on really good years, they'll get like a circus or something, like something really cool for the kids. And then they'll
Have
do
an
things like,
elephant.
like parade elephants through the town. Exactly.
I don't know, maybe something to do with apple. Yeah, whoever makes the best apple-based product. Beer is always appreciated.
Can
Right.
Loxodons communicate with elephants?
I don't know if I can talk with elephants.
I don't think they have like an
elephant.
Aquaman thing going on with elephants. I'm pretty sure that's not canon.
Okay.
For like
Just
for
like
real.
people can't talk with gorillas.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, you can do sign language with that one gorilla.
Coco, yeah. Some people.
Yeah, that's on the gorillas side, though.
Right, exactly. I was gonna say some people aren't willing to concede that Coco actually has the ability to process language, or had. I guess she passed away, but
Well,
No.
yeah, I was
you know,
reading about it. Like for a certain group of scientists, it's like their flat Earth, basically, or a faked moon landing, if you prefer.
Well, animals don't have emotions either, so
Right, and they don't feel pain. Yeah, totally.
Now, if you were the deep, then you could communicate.
Right, exactly. That poor bastard. Okay, so as you guys are talking, Karoma brings up that you had originally wanted to report to Vajra immediately. So are you guys going to do that? And if you are, what is it that you're going to report?
Good call.
Karoma points out that while Maloon's behavior wasn't sinister, most mercenaries don't meditate on their axes on their front porch in the morning, and that's not a thing that he would expect someone like that to do. So maybe there's some like ritual magic going on.
We also don't know if that's a behavior that he does all the time. Did we ask anybody? Is any one of us friends with him?
Well, so that's the thing. Actually, that's one of the reasons that I'm having Karoma bring this up, and you guys are lucky because the die went in your favor there. But yeah, he mentions that the only person we know that would have the kind of information we need to confirm what we found is actually Vajra, who confessed to be his friend.
Well, let's just mention it to her. I also want to talk about this Han character. What?
Huan, yeah.
Huan.
Houn, however you pronounce that.
There's
Houn?
a
Was that
Houn?
Houn?
Houn, yeah.
Hound.
Hound like noun? Interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Or
I was
like-
thinking like ooh, like you. So it was
Or
like,
like
ooh,
he's
yeah.
a loyal dog, so he's a hound. But you take the D off,
Okay.
so he's hound.
Right, I see it. Yep. That's canon for me. All right, we'll call him Hound.
Hound. Okay. I like the glottal stop in his name though. Huan.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. I don't know. It sounds like he's like a Marine.
Huon. Huan. But Hound. Okay, I get it. Hound.
Okay. So then the plan is to basically go to see Vajra at the tower first thing in the morning.
Yep, and tell her that Hound is totally sus, and that this other guy, the guy who we're supposed to be following, her friend, meditates on his axe like a total weirdo. He's a total dude, brah. He like is worried about its size or how he can work it. I guess that's a good thing.
I mean, I guess
You
it's
need
better
to
to
know
be
how to-
self-aware. Right?
Yeah, exactly. How do you use it really? He seemed really disappointed about how he used his axe, though. So maybe you could comfort him.
All right. Well, when you guys show up, you show up early enough that it's Vajra's breakfast, and you find her dining on very small eggs in very small cups, almost like shot glasses. She takes the top off of each one and then downs it. You don't think they were cooked, but anyway, as she eats, she listens to your report, and she says, "Well, I mean, then none of that sounds particularly odd. The bit with the axe is new. I mean, he's had that axe for a really long time. Maybe it's not new, actually," she says as she thinks about it. She says, "I mean, it is a magic item. Perhaps there's some ritual involved in maintaining its charges."
Maybe
not
you should help
Typically,
him
how that
into
works with
his
those
axe.
kinds of items, though. That is interesting. As for this hound, I don't know anything about him.
You should send spies. Give him no quarter. He seems suspicious.
That's interesting. That's perhaps worthy of the resource. Well, did you find anything else?
When we mentioned the idea of Lilith, seemed he seemed to be frightened by the idea, but almost sounded as if it's the first time he's ever heard of such. And honestly, I wasn't sure if that was under some trying to play it as coy as possible. Because when we first mentioned an illithid, there was kind of a shock on his face, but
Not the normal kind.
after we kind of talked about the idea, try to kind of see if get him talking. What he muttered out with something along. That's the sort of fighter.
Huh. That's interesting.
That's
She
the
says,
sort of language he'd normally use when someone would present the story as some sort of scary monster.
"There's never really been one to be afraid of the things you find in the dark. That's, in fact, why him and his crew generally specialize in the deeper expeditions. I can't imagine he was truly ignorant of the Illithid or the rumors about them. Was he condescending? Is it possible that he took you for fools?
No. I got a very good read on him. Squints his
Well,
beady little elephant eyes.
He's
I
been
can
known to take the piss, so to speak. That's the only thing I can think of. There's no legitimate reason why Maloon would act that way.
I know a man in fear. This man was either in fear or feigning it.
it's
What did you tell him? How did you approach him? What did he think that you were?
Storytellers.
Oh yes, we recruited the aid of our good friend Volo to present the idea of writing a book about the
Tales of the Inn.
yeah.
And we did it all over the ruse of a card game and boo.
Well, that sounds like Maloon. So, in that case, it was business that you were talking, if I understand that correctly.
Yes, we
Right.
were asking stories of like his great adventures and some of the wonderful things.
Why?
Well, he's certainly not one to undersell himself when there's money on the line. I can't imagine. That's troubling. She puts down the last of her eggs and
What are those?
pushes
Those look
away
tasty.
from the table and stands up. She says, "Quail. They're not as tasty as you think. They're better cooked."
There's actually an opportunity too. You might be able to listen to him talk a bit, or at least have an agent who knows him listen to him talk. I might have convinced him that he can advertise and talk about his ideals for the his startup guild at the opening of the forum and public house.
And he said he would attend.
He was enthusiastic, if I remember correctly. I'm not lying if I say that, right? Out of character.
No, he was very
He seemed very positive.
very much
Yeah, I don't like.
Appreciate it.
Mudar is super. Yeah, Mudar is super honest, and I don't remember him actually saying he would go, and that's something that Mudar would be OCD about. But yeah, Mudar would say he seemed enthusiastic about it.
Okay. To
Appreciate
refresh
it.
Mudar's memory, while he did not commit to attending, he did absolutely sound like he would be there.
Yeah,
And to the party's credit, you even suggested at the time that perhaps you should tell Vajra to attend the opening in disguise so that she could observe him.
I was. That's exactly why I thought that was a good thing to mention while she was standing up. Yeah, I didn't just make that up. No, I thought that was the plan, and I was like, wait a
Oh
minute.
yeah,
I can say this.
it's in my notes right here. So yeah, as you say this, she says, "Interesting. Well, that's not a bad idea. I can have agents posted in your inn. I'll be discreet." She looks up. She says, I understand this is an important venture for you. I have no intention of disrupting your opening.
Likewise, you might.
But if we can catch some evidence of what we suspect, that might be an opportunity to do so.
Exactly. Likewise, you might want to tell the agents that they're on a different mission than what you're doing. Limit the amount of people that might be able to be read by a mind flare or such mind flare trickery. The Emperor
Indeed.
knows not exactly what these kinds of beings from the outer reaches can do.
Illithids aren't the only ones with masters of psionic powers, but your advice is well taken. Thank you. Well, this is disturbing. She looks down at the table and she says, "Maloon, I mean, I haven't known him all my life or anything like that, but he's been a friend for a while, and it's sad to think I may have already lost him. Thank you for your efforts. I believe we discussed." Oh, Who'd we lose?
What?
Oh no, Watts! I will give him a moment to rejoin. Welcome back, Watts.
Sorry.
When to come
Uh,
back?
Got a push to talk error. It was like, hey, you need to run a Discord and admin because we don't have push to talk access.
That used to happen to me a lot, actually. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. So anyway, to get back to what I was saying, she laments that the friend that she thought she had was potentially already dead, and she
Do not
thanks you
give
for
up hope.
your efforts.
The conquest
And
still has chance.
A question before we go: Is there an easy way to tell if there's like a fog on someone?
oh, like a gas or something? She says.
Something that could make them not quite the same, like they would forget things that they might already know, or that sort of thing.
It would depend on how it was done, but if it was some sort of enchantment, yes, you would see it as an aura on the. You would see it as an aura on the body if they were viewed through, some, like a detect magic spell or a lens of true sight, something of that nature.
Coroma did detect magic, didn't he? Out of character?
It was around the axe, wasn't it?
I don't remember that he did anything with the axe, actually.
No, it was just on his belt.
As I recall, it was while you were following them, right? I'm not sure. And I
It's
don't
been a
have
day or
it in
two.
my notes, unfortunately.
Right. I just ask because it seems like your friends greatly changed since last you met, and there's many ways of altering the way people see things, the way they remember things, that maybe it may not be magic, but like magic?
You should definitely prepare for the grand opening because he might have changed some behaviors merely on attitude towards his new endeavor. He has been more vocal about it.
And she nods to both of you and she says, there's more than one way to change somebody's mind. All of them are relatively temporary. However, there's really only one way I know of to change somebody's mind permanently, and that's to take it completely. I fear, with an illithid involved, that's the more likely case. But I appreciate the hope. It's all we have, right? I'll post agents at your opening. I don't think I'll attend myself, you understand. If there really is an illithid about, I would give up the game.
You should post a speaker as well.
It'd be a good front. They could be coming to talk of the great things that you guys, or some other great studies that they have.
Interesting.
Research.
Yes,
We did
she
already
thinks.
have a good idea about graduates, but that's a different thing.
Yeah, and she thinks I have a couple of potential speakers in mind now that you mention it. We have our own psionists, she says with a small smile. For example, if I perhaps sent them to teach others how to open their minds, well, they would detect our problem for us if it was there, and they wouldn't give the game away because that wouldn't be why they were there, would they?
Clever. Quite a good plan.
Interesting. Yes, I will provide a speaker for your opening. An excellent idea. The Greyhounds will have a scholar for you. As she says that, she looks over at the table. She makes a gesture with her hands, and a potion bottle appears on the table. It's filled with an oily sort of black almost like ink, which is to say it's not like thick and syrupy, but it is dark and opaque, black liquid in it. And she says, "I was going to use that if things went poorly for you. Why don't you hold on to it and keep it beneath your bar in case things go poorly on your opening night?"
What is it?
Is that a drinky one or a smashy one?
That's a drinky one, and you're going to want to put it into the mouth of someone who perhaps has recently lost their ability to drink, if you catch my meaning. That is a potion of Revivify.
Mm.
Important. That's safe.
Legendary indeed. I am very sad that I did not write down and do not know what we named our public house.
You guys actually hadn't settled on a name. You had a couple of options, to the point where one of you joked perhaps of calling it the Tavern of Many Names.
Oh yeah, no, yes. And then we were really good. I thought we were good with that one.
Another one that I had written down in my notes was Taffer's Tavern. All right. Well, she makes with a got a magic academy and a spy network to run sort of motions and says, I'll speak to you after your opening, I suppose.
Hopefully we have better news then.
She says, in the meantime, I think it might be best if I surreptitiously isolate our friend Maloon from the workings of the Greyhounds. Again, thank you for your effort here. I appreciate it. And
Well,
she looks at you all. I appreciate your discretion as well.
wait. No. I think you have a great idea there. Perhaps hire him. Give him meaning.
I would have to keep him in the city.
Sure.
She nods. And she says, On the other hand, with all of the violence in the streets of late, plenty of reason for that. Interesting. It's an interesting idea. Clargus, right? Yeah, interesting idea, Clargus.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
could keep them on the docks. There are ships coming and going. Are we not technically looking for one?
Interesting. That's a topic I think I would not want my potential
Fair.
opponents to be involved in.
Oh, you didn't say why to watch, just to watch.
Sometimes that's enough. You can read the patterns and things,
The hunt. Point.
You can know the rocks beneath a river by the pattern in the water, for example.
Right.
Right.
Nudar slaps his hands together. Well then, business is adjourned. You should know who to come to
When should
for
we
discreet, neutral business.
when should we expect to hear back about like to have first or open?
Oh no, of course. In fact, we'll make sure that it is fully complete before your opening. In fact, she sort of looks up and away for a moment as she considers you're going to guess her schedule. I can probably have somebody sent over today to begin that work.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the help.
Live-in apprentice will show them around the house.
She nods and then says, "Live-in apprentice? You have been busy."
Absolutely. The education of the youth and the establishment of knowledge, a knowledge base is essential for.
Indeed.
Mudar is a really large man who wants to do great things. All for the Emperor, right? For the Emperor!
The Emperor protects. And he slaps you on the back, Smoke, hard enough to make you jump maybe 5 feet.
Yeah, big step forward. She nods. She says, Your emperor, indeed. Well, it's good to see you so charitable. Good luck in your ventures. We will speak again.
Okie dokie.
So then,
Mudar says a word in Primal that essentially means, may we meet each other again.
That can't be subtle. It's primal. What'd you do? Roar?
Right,
wait,
exactly.
primal or primordial?
Primordial.
Oh, so which dialect?
It doesn't say.
The Emperor's dialect?
You're from a cold region, so probably either air or water.
It's the Emperor's dialect. I don't know.
Pretty sure it's water.
It
Water?
could be water. Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
water.
If the
That makes
DM
sense
says
if he's
it's water,
frozen.
then absolutely.
Yep. So you said something along the lines of
Probably sounded a little like a saxophone. Okay. So the process to renovate the tavern and have it ready takes in total about 12 days. You guys have already spent about half of that time already before your night of cards anyway. So, the remainder of the week basically passes by in a blur of meeting with people making deliveries, showing workmen where to go, overseeing the restoration of the runes, teaching all how to, serve drinks. Also, keeping Zelly not bored.
Gotta teach him how to play bar games too. We gotta get up a dedicated stump table so people can play Hammerschlagen or Stump, whichever you want to call it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an indoor game?
You can play it indoors.
I mean, I guess you can, sure.
Wires is a giant stump, and then enough hammers for you to nail the nails into the stump.
I mean, fair enough.
It's hammers, nails, stump. That's all you really need. And drinks. You need the booze. It's essential.
But we're having people like talk and stuff. So unless we put like sound barriers up, they're gonna drown each other out from the hammering.
But I have, and in the next 6 days, the things that I talked about in the chat will assuredly come into play. Mudar wants to tile the second floor's forum in a Greco style, and that would indubitably mean, no doubt, mean that a layer would have to be put on the wooden floor so that the tile can rest upon it.
Glargus, could the building support such arduous things?
I actually reinforced the foundation a bit. Not much, but a bit.
No, not the foundation, like the actual structure. Like you're talking about putting a lot of tile on the second floor of a wood structure.
Right, exactly.
Well,
It is a lot of tile, but it's like tile relief. So it's like tiny bits of tile
yeah, and
all made into a giant
you're-
picture.
here's
Sure,
the nice
that doesn't
thing.
actually change the weight, though.
No,
No, it
here's the nice thing is that if we're really going to commit to putting the tile up there, we're basically going to have to rip the entire floor up. So while we're there, we can completely reinforce it. So either way, we're going to be there. Build it up a little, no sweat. A little wood, else a little hard
Ooh,
work.
I would love to add a little bit more arches over here in these corners. That could like draw in the light into
Well-
the corner tables so that people could get a different ambiance.
That's only part of the reinforcing. Like, yes, we have a great smokestack that is our central pillar for the place. Like, will that be
Right,
enough
but you are
to?
hanging the whole floor off of it, essentially.
Right. So, like, wood's one thing. Like, but enough tile to actually do sound dampening and everything else.
Yeah, you might want to
yeah.
put a new beam in. Probably. Actually, where's the map? Let me pull that up real quick.
Manor, Troll Skull. I just brought it up. I would.
Yeah. So the only other
Or
supporting beam in the tap room is actually at the corner of the bar, and it's relatively small. And it braces the wall of the common room. So the weight that you guys are talking about putting down is actually between the wall on the north side and that support beam there at the elbow of the bar.
so
That's
like
a lot of weight.
I have an idea then for that corner over there by the bar. And
It would
we
almost be
feed it
easier
into
to
our
do
thing.
a magical fix for this rather than a stone one.
No,
Maybe. I mean, if you're just worried about sound, you could also just like lift the floor. You know what I mean?
yeah, we can also create a alcove over there with relatively small support beams that would encourage, more private areas of dining or sitting. So
Yeah.
have like a facade, something in the middle, of something artistic or some bullshit like that, and then chairs to the side of it in the corners, and that could support. Well, I was trying to say Casa Bonita style. Yeah. A nice little facade, Casa Bonita style, that makes the support beam look cool.
Okay, actually, doing some quick math, it's only actually about an extra 600 pounds to each of the unsupported areas of floor, each of those 9x9 grids.
Remember to
basically.
calculate in Moodar.
But yeah, there's going to be people up there too.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's not actually as heavy as I thought it was going to be. As it turns out, it's only about 13 pounds per square foot. But yeah, I mean, if you guys really do want to tile it, that's doable, and that would absolutely isolate the sound in the two spaces.
Make the sound in the den really like boom too, so that people can be loud in the den and the voice can carry.
Right, the common room. Well, if you're going to do the den,
The den is the forum.
Oh, okay. I thought the common room was.
Oh, the
No.
tap house downstairs is the big tap house where people, drink and shit, and then they move.
Yeah, no, I meant the common room on the second
Oh
floor.
no, the den is what
Yeah.
we were going to use for the forum. I thought.
Oh, well, in that case, it's actually pretty well supported. You're probably fine if you're just going to tile it there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah,
That's why I was
exactly.
saying about just opening it up and putting in more beams because they're going straight to the supporting.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, sorry. I was looking at the room on the other side of the wall.
Yeah,
The common
no,
room will be used for things that will separate the house, which is why there's a big hall there too, and a door that will be locked or whatever. And the common room will be used for like, oh, come inside and pay the booth for the education time or whatever. Or if you're like one of the students,
Sure, or like as an intermission room or a lobby.
yeah, exactly. The common room is a big lobby that separates the house from the den from the bar.
Right, and it's also like where you could receive, guests or potential clients or things like that if you needed to.
Exactly. But no, it was just the den that I wanted to tile. More so it can separate the sound from.
Yeah, that's way easier, and I think you're fine there. I don't think there's a problem at all.
All right. So no need for a little Casa Bonita like facade over there in the corner.
No, I
I
think you're fine.
I need a little facade right there. Something like that, like a little alcove. You got a little support beam right there. God damn it! Why are you drawing lines now? Stop drawing lines. Exit
I mean,
drawing.
if we're gonna add a support column there, that'd probably be what I would maybe call and dedicate for kind of recording all of them.
kind of like what it does too, because we can add like another table or two. A nice little
Yeah.
hallway. Not a whole column, just like a roundy bit. You even put a table inside of the roundy bit too. Disguise the whole thing.
That's as small as that gets.
Cool.
But I totally get what you're saying, man. Like, put a round table with a pole in the middle, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a
We
little
gotta have a
archway
pole.
over the entrance. Yep. You gotta have a pole. We can put a raised floor in, too, if you really want to go all out.
I mean, thinking about it, the common room might end up being used for overflow if we have a particularly large audience. If the audience is too large, I suppose we could just, have everyone greet out on the balcony.
Oh, fun.
Oh, great! This could be a place of revolution.
To be fair, the balcony on the what is that, west side actually opens into like your courtyard, so you could have them gather there and not be blocking the street.
Holy shit!
Oh,
This
nice.
is gonna be great.
That's pretty sweet. So at some point, then we should probably get some wood so I can build the outdoor bench furniture.
Right, nice.
I kind of want an evil pile of bricks in front of the house too. For no.
It's not evil. It's just suspicious.
Was it The Cure? I forgot which band, but one of the singers of your stereotypical kind of like goth band had an evil pile of bricks in front of his house that he was then forced to remove after about 7 years. He was really pissed off about it.
Fun. Yeah, that's the pre-renovation state, but that's that western wall right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boy, that looks like shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Mudar does have one question that might take some time though, and it would probably take more money. This would be like way later in the development. But would it be possible to install a well?
Well, no. I mean,
No.
you know from your excavations that the sewers run pretty much right under your property.
That's yeah.
So, yeah, you could drill and get liquid.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I wonder how many previous tenants discovered that the hard way.
Can't Sally just summon a water method? Use more water method? They just put water out, that water at the top.
That's funny.
Just clean the water and don't tell them where we get it from, magic that purifies the water. Damn, you guys always have water. How do you do that?
I mean, purify water is a spell.
That's really expensive.
Probably if one of you was a cleric, you basically get it for free.
Yeah. I'm almost a cleric.
You're a half cleric. You're a heretic.
A heretic? No.
No, not a heretic. A heretic. Sometimes they eat pickled herrick.
Pickled heretic.
Anyway.
So yeah. Get that alcove built. Get some connections. I mean, opening night is soon. Do we really need anything else? We got locks on all the doors. We got a supply. I kind of wanted to get connections to like game masters or something like that. Somebody to establish some territory for maybe some games.
I mean, there isn't a like guild of games in town.
Oh, no, that's why I was also going to the seedier places as well.
I see.
That's why I added the accent, the very bad accent in my game.
I understand now. You want to know who you're going to owe the vig to. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. So that
For
they
lack
can
of better
bring
phrase,
us
and
over here, so I can give them a little money
is
there.
there any guilds that we need to get on good terms with?
That's why I was going out to the seedier location.
Okay.
There's legal guilds than there's guilds, but I'm looking at the legal guilds, the front facers.
Yeah. Yes, actually, for what it's worth.
I'm a little
Let's
bit
see.
these nuts, so
I would have definitely gone and done this with smoking, apparently, because smoking seems interested. Smoking will be my little cat, and I will be Mudar, the giant businessman.
Right, I gotcha.
we
So
strictly do business here.
on the legitimate side of the street, and I'm going to put air quotes around legitimate, but that's just because of the way guilds work. There are guilds that handle wine and spirits. That's the Vintners Guild.
I actually
There,
am connected from the Vintners Guild.
you are
Sorry.
actually. I was going to bring that up. There is a guild for the butchers. There is a guild for the. Sorry, a guild is the wrong way to put it. There is a fraternal order for the Magus and protectors of the city's guard. There is also
Are there any
No.
female guards?
Oh.
Well, just female orders? A fraternity of guards?
there are no sororities of guards, if that's what you're asking.
Sororities. Sorry. Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
no, and then the other one is there is a farmers guild that generally supplies things like wheat, vegetables, imports, things like that. There is an import guild that handles esoterica that comes from overseas. Uh, there is a baker's guild that handles baked goods. There are probably like 30 or 40 other guilds that I don't know directly of, but I mean, in a city like this, there's probably a guild that handles things like notarizing contracts, and there's probably a guild that handles things like filing paperwork. Um, that said, you only care about those so much as you probably need to hire yourselves like a lawyer or somebody to deal with that problem for you.
Mudar and Business Kitty go out and make some connection.
Also, an important thing that's worth mentioning. I did mention that there was a festival coming up.
You did.
Yeah, that festival happens to also be the day the taxes are due.
Fantastic.
How much do we owe?
Well,
Yeah, how much
you
are the
have
taxes?
no idea.
Well, that's why Mudar and Business Kitten went out and made some connections.
We need to go by the
Taxes
taxation
are
office.
free. We aren't open yet, so it doesn't matter.
Right. You haven't actually like sold anything that to owe any like sales tax or anything like that.
But we still own
And-
property, so we most likely owe property tax.
Right. Now, to be fair, you're right. You probably do technically owe property tax. However, between the like, what was it, 50 gold that Volo kicked in and the money that you guys kicked in to actually get the deed transferred, you're probably been credited for your taxes this year already.
Yeah, I was about to say, we just got the place. Are you going to charge us a year's worth of tax for like a month's worth
Actually-
of turning this eyesore into something you can be proud of again?
Yeah, don't we get a tax break now?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we get some
I mean,
kind of?
if that's what you want to negotiate in some sort of mafioso way, that's there. Go right ahead.
We also
Right. Is there a
did
business
some-
dev deal?
We also did have a little bit of talks about, or at least you thought it was a good idea, about any historical societies that would give us money specifically because we restored this place.
Right. And that is definitely worth investigating. If you guys are legitimately looking for, let's call them civic opportunities of that nature, the advice I will give you is legitimately retain a lawyer.
Yeah, no. So Mudar and Business Kitten went out and got a lawyer while some of the supporting stuff and the tiles was being put in, and I was trying to find CD people and also what Listigius
Litigious?
Litigious people to make talks as well. Famous courtesans, instead of, being there to be courtesans talking about the knowledge of, seducing people or something like that, bring in the simps.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. First of all, I should not call them lawyers. I forgot about that.
Adjudicators?
No. Their official job is advisor and counselor.
Ah, nice.
Because I totally forgot about this. There is a piece of lore wherein the lawyers banded together in disgust over the corruption in the city. At this point, I think it was like 600 years ago in Waterdeep's history. But they banded together in disgust over the corruption in the city and decided to basically enforce the law any goddamn way that was necessary to make the law be enforced. And they became kind of like the what are the guys from the city of Brass who were way into fucking law? But anyway, they became like ultra lawful jackbooted thugs in the streets, and the people rose up and drove them out and outlawed lawyers. So you're not allowed to practice law in the city of Waterdeep. I forgot about that. However, nobody wants to do the jobs that lawyers did. So, in secret, the lawyers are all still there. They're just called counselors. So yes, you should hire yourself a counselor.
No, definitely. And it's Mudar and Business Kitten. I brought Smoking along just because he seemed interested. And because I'm also the one trying to make the seedy connections, I might as well be on the legal end as well. I mean, I am a paladin. Good face. Little do they know that the Emperor uses the word paladin loosely.
Right. It's more about the dedication and less about the,
I am.
Oh, so he's a monk.
More like warrior priest.
Okay. Employing the services of a counselor costs about 5 gold an hour.
Shards, sons, nibs.
Dragons.
Okay.
That's the average.
68.
There can be better or worse depending on what you're willing to pay.
There ought to be deals for professional on call too, percentage yearly things that we can organize for festival times.
Right. So the common practice, I don't actually know how Waterdeep deals with retaining counselors, but the common practice, in my experience, is that you pay them a retainer, which is kind of like prepaying them for X hours of service and the guarantee to be available while that money is, on the table, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So you could absolutely retain, a few hours or several days worth of a lawyer's time and then only need it, only use it as you needed it.
Absolutely. Then let's do that.
Okay. What kind of, counselor are you looking for? So a good way to think about it is to open up the skills tab on a character sheet and tell me what skills you think they would be proficient in.
Give me 1 second.
Equation.
Top three? Do you want top three?
Okay. If you want them to be proficient, that basically increases the price. If you want them to be what's the word I'm looking for? If you want them to be double proficient, that's going to end up doubling the price. So I guess one way to think of it is proficiency costs about a gold piece an hour.
That makes sense. So, Okay. Insight, deception, perception. Maybe sleight of hand as like a hobby. I swear.
I would want somebody who got persuasion, because we want somebody that can leverage people.
That's nice too, but the guy that I'm talking to usually has a guy to intimidate, Lenny, or somebody of similar, proportions. Purported lugginess.
I think, intimidation takes many forms. It's not just physical.
Oh, good point. Good point.
Yeah, like maybe have investigation along with kind of or walk. Oh, blah blah. Well, if you don't blah blah blah, I mean everybody know about you, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, investigation might be nice. Interesting.
Yeah, that's more the angle I'm looking. I do like deception. I mean, this is if we want someone who's really gonna get the job. I would imagine not willing to spend 10 or double
Mm-hmm.
investigation, persuasion, deception. What was the other one that you were looking at? What was the other one?
I have down insight, deception, perception, persuasion, intimidation, and investigation.
Yeah, I mean, even 12. Like, if we're at a point where we need a lot of skill support, the other nice thing about getting somebody so proficient that hoping they can just knock it out quickly.
Exactly. And we only really need like maybe 24 hours, a day's worth of time, 2 days. Like, I don't know. People's best time is only done within like 4 hour stints.
Sure. And generally, they bill you by the job too, right? So, like, if you were to say, give them the job of, figuring out who owns the rights to the name Taffer's Tavern, right? They'll bill you only for the time they actually spent investigating that problem, not the time it took to walk there. Not, you know what I mean? Different counselors will be more or less scrupulous about how they book your hours, but that's generally how it's supposed to work.
So yeah, definitely perception. It seems, or persuasion rather. Was it persuasion that you said twice?
Persuasion. Yeah, that's what I have. Anybody else think any skills they could have?
Persuasion.
I'd be curious about what connections they have to the various guilds and organizations here in the city.
Oh yeah. I'm looking for guys who do the whole gambling game. We gotta be known as a place for safe gambling, maybe.
Sorry, could you repeat that? I was reading something about counselors.
Insight, intimidation, and persuasion.
Or you were referring to me talking about their connections and how that will also be valuable or
Yeah, that's
problematic.
Gotcha. So you were wondering how you want to know what what's the word I'm looking for? I was gonna say
Affiliations?
tainted, but yeah, yeah, exactly. You want to know their affiliations.
Workers Union.
That's a generally good question for anybody you're gonna get in business with in Waterdeep, for what it's worth, because the factions kind of like run the city.
I'll probably be asking, around. So I probably would have been pointed in a direction by Hammond Craddock towards maybe this guy or other people, or the person that we're looking for, this counselor, or towards the people who would eventually get me towards this counselor.
Yeah. So because you guys have, between you. Between Karoma's knowledge of the streets and the sort of like web of different worlds you all walked in, you can probably find somebody with the kinds of connections you want. So maybe the better question would be, what sorts of connections are you looking for?
I kind of want like a businessman. A little bit of underground, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Guy who can guarantee at least that the business will stay afloat, if it might be at the cost of, a little bit of CD. But they have standards.
Okay. Are there any particular people you would want them to be connected with? And anybody can answer that, by the way.
I'm looking for like a neutral guy, so not very strong with anybody, but maybe a lot of people. Vast casting web to pick from.
I think
But
at the very least they need to have experience the major, warring and swashbuckling, like Xanathar's arm, for example, to all the ones that you expect would send a hit.
gotta have a good protection program.
Be neutral and have rapport.
Right, for example, to be able to make the kinds of quiet inquiries one might make if someone was trying to settle the violence in the streets.
Mm-hmm. Or just not have it come to our wall.
Fair, right, absolutely. Okay.
Which is exactly why I thought the guy that we would be finding is a little bit seedy, in everybody's eyes.
Everybody's going to be a little bit seedy, especially a lawyer in the city of no lawyers. So, I mean...
No, I was looking especially for the seedy guy amongst the seedy characters. If you have loyalties, if you've been spooked, then you're not as seedy as this other guy.
I wonder if I have a way to get you a picture.
Can't be spooked by the eye, can't be spooked by the gray hand, can't be spooked by the harp. Gotta run your own game.
Negatory, good buddy.
Run the line in between all of them. Kind of like D&D's version of a shadow. That's who we want. Johnny Mnemonic. Except somebody who doesn't fuck up.
I was thinking more like a Better Call Saul.
Totally. Okay. I mean, this is like the most generic of these people, but it is a decent enough example. Your skill set that you wanted, both single and double proficiencies, and please tell me which is which.
That was
Okay.
intimidation, insight, persuasion.
Did you say intimidation, insight, and persuasion?
Yeah. And the reason why I'm saying insight is because insight is reading people, and this guy is going to be making a lot of the deals for us, doing a lot of the paperwork for us, and I want them to be able to read the person, know if they're going to be a person that they can use intimidate and or persuasion with, and then follow through. Which is why I'm kind of looking for a Shadowrun kind of character, because the guy I'm looking for is basically the strength of talking You know, it would be a shock if they had physical capabilities. You know, with as much proficiency as we're trying to pay for, um, based on their character build. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Did you want those 3 as double proficiencies?
I heard that Clargus was willing to pay for the best if he's willing to help.
Yeah, I mean,
The Emperor would surely
we're
love.
gonna need to make money out of the operation. I think whether we are all collectively willing.
Yeah, the Emperor was going to try to back the legal resource into this into this fund, but I mean, if Clargus was also going to help with that, because I only have track of so much of the funds that we have together, unless we have something in like our notes.
Well, we don't have any income from.
Right. You guys haven't made any money from the tavern yet. It's not open, so.
No, we've just all been paid for various different stuff, and we have our own stuff. And then there's the money that we had invested. We've made investment money.
Yeah, I think I've spent most of mine.
Yeah, it looks like there's about, let's call it 360, was that 67 gold pieces between you?
We'll buy like 24 hours worth of the best of those 3 that we can find.
Well, again, they bill by project.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so the trick is you'll get a rate, and then you guys can decide how much of their time you want to retain.
So it was intimidation, persuasion, right, investigation, deception for the singles, or are we gonna get?
Singles
Okay.
on those.
Then was there one more?
I'm good.
Okay. There we go.
All right, that comes out to about 8 dragons an hour.
Bam, 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 bam. That's good. I like that.
Reasonable.
That was actually even better than I thought it was going to be.
We want to throw in stealth as well.
Guess we're looking for a paper guy. I don't want somebody who might rob us.
Fair enough.
And if they do rob us, I want them to be the person that robs us, like in that one movie with Sylvester Stallone in it. I can't believe I forgot the name of it.
Are you talking about the incredible classic Get Shorty?
No, he was a banker.
Oh God. Oh, that movie was amazing.
Yeah, he was a
Oh
banker.
no.
And-
Oscar. Oscar is the name.
Oscar. It is. It is Oscar.
That movie is dope. Good
So-
call out, dude.
Yeah, so the kind of guy that I'm thinking is the kind of guy
That's
who
right. It's Travolta that's in
rob
Get
us.
Shorty.
It is Travolta. Yeah. But if he is going to rob us, he's going to rob us over, maybe 12 years and at, maybe 15 cents a day
right. Totally.
until he then uses his accumulative wealth to try to make a giant deal with us to give us back our wealth. But
Okay. So,
it's really funny.
at the skill set that you guys are looking for, with the types of, with the ability to, for example, contact the major factions, some connection to the minor guilds, some knowledge of, say, the local, petty crime clubs, enthusiasts, that kind of thing, a fixer style counselor, you really only come down to one choice. And it's this woman right here. Her name is Severi Cinderskeen.
Tell us about
Always have
Silver.
hot hands.
No, that's part of the marketing material.
Miss Silverstein. Tell us about her. Sell
She's
yourself.
she's a fixer. She fixes things, sir. What more do
Right.
we need to know?
Her
Do we
job
go
is
to her?
to
Do we
make your problems go away.
Oh, that's basically what we need.
Exactly. We want connections. We want to be able to get all the taxes where they're due. We don't want people to, throw any Molotovs at our windows for anything that's said in our forum. And if they do, we want them to disappear or at least appear on our doorstep. Business opportunities. Places where maybe games can be done and other peoples will turn an eye to those games, but nothing too serious.
Yeah, for sure. She's actually just the person to ask for that kind of stuff. And in fact, when you go to meet with her, you will find that her office is, well, calling it an office is an interesting way to put it. It very clearly is an in room that she must have some sort of permanent arrangement with the innkeeper to possess. Because it's right at the top stairs above a tap room on Odd Street in the southwest of Waterdeep, basically right off the docks. The tavern doesn't even have a name. Instead, it has a picture of a mermaid hung from its tail as if it had been caught by an angler. It's a sailor's bar. It's seedy. It's not necessarily dangerous. Like it's not a boisterous bar. It's quiet. It's where sailors go when they just want to drink. But she has her office on the second floor, top of the stairs. Basically, the only room in the building with windows that overlook Odd Street. And she seems relatively businesslike for all of the what's the word I'm looking for all of the impropriety of her location. You tell her that you're setting up a new business. She congratulates you and tells you that you're very smart to come to somebody like her. She asks you, what made you think of her. You tell her that you were looking for particular qualifications and knowledges. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. She's like, say no more. She gives you her rate, and she says, there are a few things that I can do for you just in general. For example, as long as you tabulate all of your sales, I can. She sort of looks at you with a roll to her eyes. Keep your books.
You'll do accounting for us as well.
Indeed. Of all types, even any new innovative methods you might have.
Oh, you can do the fancy maths.
Indeed.
That does sound like a good thing, and all we have to do is tally the numbers. I'm sure we have a live-in student who would love that kind of experience.
Yeah, keep good records, bring them to me, and I'll make sure that you pay exactly the taxes that are due. She says with a slow nod.
What about protection and that like?
Well,
We are running a forum, so philosophical things might be said. People may be upset. We will have devil's advocates and such.
I'll never let it be said that Waterdeep is a place of singular opinion. I don't think that's so much a problem around here. We're a group of people that have come to depend on each other. And so I think what most people are looking for in a new business is to see that they're willing to help the community. How charitable are you, for example?
Well, the Emperor is quite charitable to those who are friendly to his endeavors.
Right. Are you, for example, donating to the mystical order of the Protectors and Magus?
Well, to the what now?
Ah, well, one of the services I can provide then is to put you in contact with the various community support organizations, so that you can share the wealth and enrich the community.
Fantastic. The Emperor approves in sharing with the community as long as they share back.
Oh, is that like the book club people over by the temples?
More like the club that the police.
Oh, the retiree guys, the ones that they're no longer. Yeah. Okay.
Right. There are a few other people to know around town. I can arrange introductions if necessary. I can also act as a neutral party if that's necessary. I actually haven't asked you much about your business in town so far. You're not. She looks you up and down. You're not on anybody's list, are you?
Um, just the
No?
usual ones, I think.
Maybe. The Emperor's list, assuredly.
Okay.
We are
Thing is,
talking.
I heard a story about some. She looks at you specifically, Smoke. She says about some kids who maybe got under Xanathar's rug, if you know what I'm saying. That wouldn't be you, would it?
Absolutely not. Xanathar told us, or not Xanathar himself, but one of Xanathar's men said that they might have business for us in the future. That's why we want to maintain a neutral status, is because everybody seems willing for business, and we don't want to change that.
Good. I feel the same way.
It's more profitable that way.
Yeah. Well then, gentlemen, I think we could potentially do business. Have you registered your endeavor with the city yet?
That was one of the reasons why we're here to talk to you about that because, well, forms and papers and all of the trails and stuff in the weird halls of books. It's best to have a professional. Just like if we were going into the woods, we'd want a ranger. We came to you to go into there.
Excellent. All right, then allow me to offer that as my first suggestion, my first piece of advice as a counselor. Let me take care of that for you. Also, give me like 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
We could all take a 5-minute piss break. Nobody else said anything else?
Probably don't piss for 5 full minutes, but yeah.
But I mean, we could grab something, refreshing ourselves.
Yeah.
I would need like a guarantee that we could do that. This chick is gonna order us some pie-flavored justice. And that pie is gonna smell like money and connections. And then we're gonna use the pie to plant a bug in the pie. We'll know shit, and we'll be able to profit off of that shit. And then we will conquer Waterdeep.
Alrighty, I'm back.
Gonna fucking conquer Waterdeep. One bar at a time. But yeah, no, we go into telling her what our business is about. All the shady shit that we want to do, all the cool shit that we want to do.
Yeah, all right. In that case, she goes into details. she would make a point of letting you know that she's on the clock.
But of course.
And then you guys spend, 10 or 15 minutes. We'll call it a quarter hour, just to keep good records. You guys spend about 15 minutes going over the opening of the tavern. Did you guys decide on a name? Is it the Tavern of Many Names?
Yep.
Tavern of many names, tavern of many forms, tavern of many tavern.
Names.
Cool. Yep, Tavern of Many Names is cool. I like it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, so you tell her the name. You tell her about your idea to have a forum to invite speakers, and she sort of gets a gleam in her eye, and she says, "Have you considered that that's a civic good?"
No, but on the same topic of that, I have been interested in seeing that there were investors in propping up this historical site. Likewise, we did have connections with the Gray Hands, whatever they're called. Gray
Yeah,
Hands.
Grey Hands. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Gray Hands about potentially using the forum as a area or location for graduation in their esoteric levelings of privilege.
Interesting. Well, I would have to do some legwork to run down the proper channels, but I suspect that there may be alternate sources of revenue there for you. At a bare minimum, I know there are tax affordances for public education.
Mm-hmm. Quite so. If I could get paid for preaching off the balcony every morning, then absolutely.
You
I
mean
would do
giving
it.
a public lecture?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The Emperor loves such word trickery.
Yeah, you'll find the city loves it too.
God damn.
Yeah, okay. She sort of nods, stroking her chin. Yeah, I can definitely work with this. It'll probably take me a couple of days. In the meantime, keep meticulous records of everything you spend. I will of course do the same and present you with a bill.
Smoking. Tell Kikanol to start taking records as part of his tutelage.
Of course.
It is a weight that he must bear.
Okay.
Not sure as to how skilled he's been in numbers. Diggs and Clargus may need to help me with that with him.
I was about to say Master Diggs or Clargus could probably help them with the more esoteric nature of the numerals.
Yeah, I mean he can count. He's not like an idiot, but he has no formal math training whatsoever. He knows a little history and he knows how to speak Sylvan, but that's about it.
So Clargus and Diggs doing the math tutelage would most likely be advantageous.
Oh, there's also
Yeah,
the
for sure.
dragon. The dragon might know.
Oh, sure.
There you go. We just ask her.
I'm not sure we wished him to try to figure out how 42 is the answer to everything. She would do that. You know this.
This is
I
okay.
wish you would teach him the numbers.
Yeah, no.
All of them.
The numbers is actually okay. I'll probably make a game out of it. Oh, smoking! That's a perfect opportunity for you too. Mudar is settled. Mudar speaks in the third person when Mudar gets excited.
I'm afraid now. I'm gonna go hide. Bye.
Yep. So before you leave, she produces from a, I'll call it a filing cabinet. I have no idea what it would be at the time. Maybe a bookshelf. But she produces from some paper storage mechanism a pre-written contract with blank spots. In the first blank spot, she's about to write, and then she goes, "What are you going to call your group? Is it just the Tavern of Many Names, or is that the name of the tavern and not the name of the group?"
That is the name of the tavern. The name of the group
Did we ever decide that?
Did we
No.
You're putting us on the
are-
spot twice over, sir.
Why we need a name for the group?
I was going to register you as a concern with the city. It's easier to treat you all as one entity than to treat you individually. If this is a partnership, she looks over at her bookshelf and she says, "I do have other contracts if that's how you prefer."
We are blank. An anonymous organization of gentlemen and women and in between.
Right.
It's-
That's significantly more complicated. Private organizations do exist. They're
Yeah, no, our symbol is blank. A null.
Oh, I see. Like your name is, and she makes like an O face but says nothing,
We are null.
and then rolls her eyes at you.
I think I just got whiplash.
She thinks about it for a second, and she goes, "Well, okay, I think I might be able to pull that off." And she puts quote quote space quote quote in the area where a name would go in the contract.
That's the group's name. The tavern is the tavern of many names, but
Right. I'll need to look over the deed at some point to make sure that we can arrange that to become an asset of the concern. Again, much cheaper for your taxes that way, she says, and sort of mumbling to herself as she finishes filling out the rest of the paper. And she says, "Okay, here we go. So this is the contract. I will be bound as your counselor and advisor. Well, rather, I will be bound to the concern for such period as your continual consideration in the form of 8 dragons an hour payment for effort labor done. As long as that continues, I will be bound as your counselor. As your counselor, I am duty bound not to report anything that we say to each other. And I will not violate that vow. In fact," she points down at the contract, she says, "once this is signed, I cannot violate that vow."
interesting.
Oh, this is one of those magic contract thingies.
She nods and she says, "Indeed, the contract will enforce itself."
You do this entirely willingly. The Emperor does hate overly tyrannical enforcements of power.
Oh no, I wrote this contract. I just prefer to what's the colloquialism? I prefer to keep my rats in the cellar.
You wish to keep a clean book and keep things where they're supposed to be. That makes sense.
Exactly.
And
And
also,
so
it makes
she
it where
points-
people can trust you better, because if it's binding like that, I have a question though. Do you have other contracts active at the moment? Not asking specific people, just yes or no.
Of course, I couldn't answer the question of whether I had specific clients for what it's worth. But yes, I do have other clients. You would not be my only client.
Right. What happens if contract A is in conflict with contract B?
Well, generally speaking, that isn't a thing that I allow to happen. I am generally compartmentalize my efforts. However, if any of my clients are ever in direct opposition to each other, I will recuse myself. You understand what that means? It means I would not be involved in that conflict in any way.
Quite.
No, I was just wondering because sometimes you're not really given a choice.
I do
Um,
prefer that we're honest with each other, so I hope that you would never deceive me into
Oh
acting
no
against another client.
no! You're helping us. I would not willingly deceive you. Like you don't lie to your fixer.
You're good, as long as we understand each other. For what it's worth, I've never had clients with competing interests before, so I can't honestly tell you how that would play out. My instinct would be to urge a reconciliation and perhaps to try to act as an intermediary in that, but to otherwise
A
make
neutral
sure
party.
that I was a neutral party. Exactly.
It
No,
is
I
only the
understand.
most profitable.
Right, but occasionally, say we do become at odds, like leaning of things can happen, and well, conflicts of interest and all that.
Indeed. If I'm aware of them, I will attempt to resolve them. If things happen that I'm unaware of, I am a mortal just like the rest of us, and I don't control fate. That said, I do not report the dealings of one client to another. In fact, again, literally incapable, barring some substantial magic being worked against me. So the likelihood that I would ever manipulate one client against another, or that another client would knowingly manipulate me, is pretty much impossible. Um, if something were to happen without my knowledge, there's not much I could do about it, I guess, except to extricate myself from the situation as soon as I became aware.
Fantastic, you said. We shall immortalize your visage upon our tile mosaic flooring in a tiny corner of the room. What? A sound thinker is her who has established such.
At least a portrait on wall. Don't let people walk on nice lady. That's not nice.
That's what the mosaic is for.
You don't walk on the floor. Mosaic's on floor.
The
She was.
mosaic is a representation of the giants that lift us up. We stand on the shoulders of these giants. These people.
That's a
Don't
pretty
offend
big
nice lady.
bullshit.
I
Yeah.
have to go.
So
Okay,
she.
sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. So she points at the contract and she says, "Since you haven't actually formed your group yet, all of us will need to sign this."
Fantastic. You should come with us then. We will offer you a beer, a sample of what we shall be selling.
She's on the clock, so she'd be willing to do that for you, but you are going to pay for it.
Yeah, but we all
Twice
need
over.
to sign.
I thought everyone was here.
I thought it was just Business Kitten and Mudar. But
Well, we also technically had neurotoxin chime
Yeah,
in.
no, you guys had decided you were going to get a lawyer, so that became a group effort.
Oh, okay. Well, then if everybody's here, then let us sign. We are 0.
Null.
No. Blank. Whatever.
She does that O shape with her mouth again and says nothing.
It's pronounced many ways, but that's the way that I prefer it.
Yeah, she says, "In Abyssal it'd be," and she does the exact same thing.
That's cool knowing more languages like that.
In Primordial, it would be, and he does a similar thing.
Yes, she does, and she says, I thought that might be the case."
So yeah,
That's awesome. That's great, Spook.
let us sign then.
All right.
What are the conditions to us signing this? Can we not talk about certain shit? What curses are you putting us
Actually,
under?
the client can disclose anything they want to anyone they want. It actually specifically binds her to privacy. The only thing that it binds you to is compensating her for the work that you agree to. And in fact, if you read the fine print, something like a bad luck spell will take hold if she is not given her due.
That's pretty neat. I like that.
Question: do you have like in a restaurant a menu of like costs of stuff and things?
She says, things in Waterdeep tend to be a little bit more fluid than that. I don't personally charge you anything more than my rate. However, certain things you will ask me to do will have fees associated with them. When those come up, there are 2 possible ways that we can deal with the situation. I can pay for them in advance and then expense it to you, at which point you would be obligated to pay me back what I had spent. Alternately, we can arrange for some amount to be put in escrow that I can spend against until it is depleted. In either case, you will, of course, receive an itemized list of all of the expenses. And at any time where those expenses are discretionary, you will, of course, be. I'll ask you first, she says.
Interesting. I was about to ask before you stated that if say you were not working on the clock, but we had paid a screwed time, but you had to not disclose something of our contract, would that take up contracted time?
No. On the other hand, if, for example, you had asked me to contact a particular dignitary or high-ranking member of one of the city's factions, and I say, for example, had to attend a masquerade ball to do so, I would, of course, expense the cost of the costume and the entrance bribes necessary to gain access to that ball.
Most assuredly, most assuredly. Also, if everybody is with us, no, the dragon wouldn't be with us.
No, she's not. Zelly and Kiki are both back at the.
Good point. Yeah, no, exactly. All right. I am also interested in a game master on that kind of point. A mover of dice.
Indeed. A gambling, a gambling host. Technically, gambling is illegal in the city. I'm sure you know that.
But of course.
Outside of the arena, of course. I mean that's a guild sanctioned activity. So, that said, to people who enjoy games of chance or are skilled at cards, there are definitely people to speak to, and I may know those people. Were you thinking of hosting games yourself, or are you more thinking of attending games that are already being hosted elsewhere?
Hosting games, providing a place. I know that every once in a while these locations they need to move around, especially with higher profile players.
She thinks about it for a moment. Again, goes to stroke her chin, and she says, "Well, they're not quite so organized that I would call the Gamblers of Waterdeep a guild, but they all do have their territories. Um, you're in the northeast part of town, right?
I believe we are. Everybody?
You are. Hmm. She says, "Yeah, you might need to buy your piece of the action, if you know what I mean. Otherwise, you would be in direct conflict with some shady motherfuckers, to put it bluntly."
Could we host their games?
Potentially, I would caution that it would be better if you were to make a one-time arrangement than some sort of continual relationship. You'll find that they're not uh, the kind of people that you want to stay in business with. However, you might be able to buy the right to run your own games if you could, say, put up a year's worth of potential winnings.
That's expensive.
Yeah, the real problem is that, well, that's Talkett's territory, and Talkett's an asshole. He's not going to give it up, and if you try to get involved with him, he's going to get his hooks at you until eventually your place is his place.
Talkett. Who is Talkett?
Talkett Lapistamber. He runs all the games on the north side of town. Which, to be fair, is really only 3 games, but they float across about 15 different locations he discreetly owns in the north end of town. In fact, at least one of those stately, lordly manors up there is nothing of the sort.
What if we started a different game, but similar approach to the game?
Right. If you were to say start your own action without appeasing any of the locals, you would be basically declaring that you're willing to fight for it. And in some cases, that would be literal. That wouldn't be some business thing.
Literal fighting.
Let's just say that Talkit used to have several competitors. Their homes mysteriously burned down one year, all on the same night.
Did they also have protection?
They did. It wasn't anything that really helped them in the end. Talkit was accused, and in fact, Talkit was even brought before the common court. Unfortunately, Talkit understands who to cut into his action, if you know what I'm saying.
Most assuredly. Well. An entire year's worth of earnings.
I mean, alternately, you could try to run your own game and hope he doesn't notice, but I don't see that working out for you.
Are there any bored intellectuals looking to play something like chess?
I think so long as there is a cut to be had, he'll want his cut.
That's correct. I don't think he cares what game is being played.
Even if he thought the game couldn't get a cut?
Basically, to be game hall, he is the game master. One must pay the game master to have the game hall.
Yeah, a good way to look at it, Verde, would be if there's a house and the house is winning anything, he would want a piece of that.
Of course.
Right. So, like, if you, if you were running fucking Hammerschlagen just for funsies, he wouldn't give a shit about that. But on the other hand, if you were running a Hammerschlagen and you were taking, $5 bets and you were getting $1 off of every bet,
He'd want 50 cents
That
off
would
of
be
that dollar.
exactly.
Well, fuck that guy.
It would almost be better, like, if we have friendly matches, like, hey, people show up, they want to have a hand. I don't think he'd really care, but if we want to do around this, like, as a regular thing, unofficially, he would want a permanent cut.
Fuck this guy.
Otherwise,
Come on, we're player characters. Do we have to fucking deal with this?
yes.
Dude, we're gonna placate to this asshole?
Well, the other option
Well, I mean,
is to track him down and kill him, and I don't think we want to be murder hobos because that would be murder in the city. And unless we really want to be that guy,
No, we don't just murder him. We establish our business, and then when he aggresses, we use our, legal right to self-defense to hunt him down and murder the fuck out of him. It's not murder.
do realize
it's in
that
case.
that's premeditated murder. Just because you're not doing anything but antagonizing him beforehand, you are still antagonizing him beforehand. If you know you're going to get into a legal issue with the dude,
The antagonist.
you're picking the fun.
The antagonization is unwarranted.
It's like
I want-
wearing a red jacket when you're walking next to a bull and you're surprised when it charges you.
Right. It's like an untouchable situation,
Yeah, no,
They bring a bat, you bring a knife. They bring a gun, you bring dynamite. Like it.
that absolutely seems fucking terrible, man. But I mean, it's also fucking ridiculous, and I like eating steak. So I might put on a red coat and feel quite justified in defending myself.
Right. I mean, a guy's got to get his beef.
And then a guy has got to get his beef. So,
And then
self-defense beef.
that won't. You're asking this lady here to go into a lot of grease palming, and we're going to go into the red because you're wanting to go in and do something that's not going to make us a profit. You do realize that, right?
Now, to be fair, going to war in the streets may not be the right answer, but finding a way to eliminate a potential competitor is, not necessarily a thing you have to do through violence.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to eliminate the competitor. It's just this competitor seems unreasonable, unwilling to compete in.
That's a fair assessment. Yes.
Which is why I'm like, I'm gonna be a competitor, and then he's gonna be unreasonable, and then I'm gonna be unreasonable back. That's what I'm arguing.
Why are we going to pick a war on another front when we already got stuff on our plate with the other stuff that we're dealing with? Why do I have to worry about my home getting burnt down while I'm diving in the dungeon?
Well, we
Because
don't
you
have
want
to
to have a
worry-
gambling hall.
Oh, this is a good point, but we wouldn't have to worry about the first floor.
We have to worry about the entire house. I'm sorry, if the top of it burns down, it's going to collapse. It's going to cause problems.
Well, then it would
Yeah,
clean itself at night.
Well, the bottom would anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't live in the bottom. I live in the top.
No,
Dude, stop being chaotic.
It would be
trying
complicated.
to set up a very particular business.
And you're also setting us up to have even more issues on top of everything else that we're dealing with.
What are we dealing with?
What are you dealing with?
We're dealing with a dragon. We're dealing with the Grey Hands. We're already on Xanathar's radar. Supposedly we're getting work from him soon. I don't particularly want to have some random schmuck come messing up a business deal just because you wanted to have a gambling hall.
He's just a
Right.
random.
At this point, it's a little bit above your pay grade, but you're also still like fringe embroiled in whatever that shit with that reality warping gem is too.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So we have a lot on our plate already.
We don't
And
need to
you're
do
wanting-
this yet. Okay, I get it. We can put the side quest later. We don't need the gambling hall in there yet. But it's not chaotic.
You're wanting to twist reality to fit your needs, and you're wanting to bend all of the rules to do it. Sounds pretty chaotic to me.
Dude,
Evil
that kind of
sumo.
bullshit fucking argument could be used for anything.
All right. So you guys are all going to sign that contract, I assume, yes? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you have bought yourself the services of one severe Cinderskine. Question. Cinderskine, excuse me. How do you want to handle her expenses? Do you want to give her money for an expense account, or do you want her to just present you with the bill?
Kind of liked the expense account, but everybody else should say stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Expense account limits her to some degree.
Definitely gives her a shorter leash for sure.
I kind of want to do a hybrid expense account, and depending on the task assigned, giving her the ability to give us a itemized list for what we needed her to get done.
Well, yeah, she's going to present you with an itemized list no matter what. Like you'll get that no matter how you decide to pay her.
What I mean is like general maintenance type stuff. She'll have a nice expense account to work with, but say like she gave the example like she needs to go speak with a specific nobleman at a time, and the only place that she can get access to him is at a specific event. Getting her into all of there with the appropriate palms greased, that would be a more. We wouldn't be able to just have an expense account sitting there for her in that situation. We'd have to pay her afterwards type thing.
Gotcha. So you're thinking like give her a small expense account, and then she can decide what to do from there, basically.
You're right. And like I said, it would be a job by job type thing. Like the general jobs of like her running the accounting, doing the paperwork, filing, etc. Like that all costs money. Like none of this is going to be free. But say, like I said, if we needed her to go in and speak to one of the upper noblemen about getting a specific contract signed or negotiated or intel or whatever we need her to get from them. She gave the example earlier, if I remember correctly, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Like with a masquerade ball or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So if you started to look like that, you'd need to contact us to be like, hey, this is going to go above the normal. I need to have free reign type situation, or not free reign, but a larger cap,
Leash,
so to speak.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah. No. Okay. She nods and she says that seems perfectly reasonable. In fact, she says, "Well, for my first task here, getting you registered with the city, that's not going to take more than 10 dragons, I don't think. However, I could also make the necessary introductions with the various major guilds for you. They generally like a 25 to 30 dragon donation the first time they meet someone.
We already know the head of the Vintners Guild. We have some connections for local sourcing fish that we were going to fry.
Excellent. Well, in that case, you probably really only care about the Watchful Order then.
Quite so. The fraternity. Yes, yes.
She says, "Great. Well, I can absolutely handle that for you."
We would love that.
She says, "That would be a 25 dragon donation that you want to make then?"
Yeah,
Question mark.
I can do that. I can do that. Yeah, most definitely. I get 25 dragons. No, put me at 140 dragons. I mean, the Emperor at 140 dragons. These are the Emperor's expenses.
For sure. Yeah, go ahead and reduce that yourself if you have it.
I did.
Cool. Okay. Well, she shakes each of your hands in turn. And she says, I look forward to doing business with you. Filing the paperwork shouldn't take me more than like an hour. I'll have to do it. I'll have to do it in the days ahead. I can't. She points around. She says, "Can't get it done today." But when's your opening night? I can bring the paperwork by then.
We're going to do it on the festival so that we didn't have to pay taxes for any revenue that we made until the next year.
She smiles and nods at that. She says, "Ah, good idea. All right. I'll run it by. I'll say early evening. I don't want to get in your way."
Fantastic. You should stop by. Enjoy a pint.
She says, "I will.
Hear a speech. Learn."
All right, cool. I think we're gonna call it a session there, though, guys.
Fantastic. Moltissimo.
All right.
Thank you for playing. That was fun.
Thank you for DMing. Absolutely.
Indeed.
Fun stuff.
Thanks for the
Cool.
fun, ladies and
And
gentlemen.
if we get signups, we will be on next week as well. I don't have any plans or anything, so
Hell yeah.
cool, guys.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Thank you for streaming as well, Nero.
Sure.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah,
Everybody
man.
out there for watching.
Thanks for playing, guys. Stay safe. Have a good one. See you next time.